Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the new 2024 K2 Excavator. This board features K2's directional camber, which is rocker in the nose, then camber throughout the rest of this board. That's going to give you all the load, pop, snap, and drive of traditional camber underfoot, but when you're riding powder, you're going to get an ease of entry in and out of turns, as well as more optimal powder float. This board is available in 142, 146, 150, 154, 158, and 162. So I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a day that was overcast skies, cold temps, high winds up high, you had dust on crust where it had been like blown off. You had a couple inches of fresh pow, even found some leftover pow. It was choppy, chundery, there was perfect corduroy on the lower mountain, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. This board has a fully directional flex, meaning softer nose that progressively stiffens back up through to the tail. There is rocker in that nose, so you do get more flex there. And right where that camber section meets the rocker is where it really starts to stiffen up. The torsional flex is noticeable and it does snap back. Now, when it comes to stability with this thing, you do get some flap in the nose, and that resonates back underfoot. You can feel that reverberation just coming up underfoot, but through the center section of the board, especially if you're in fresh snow, it does a good job of just dampening most things. It's only on a groomer that you start to notice some micro vibrations coming up. This board's lively and damp to a point, but it's not like a dead plank at all. With this having that set back camber, pretty much all the snap comes from that rear foot, and what you put in, you get a little bit more out of. A lot of that is due in part to the carbon fork in the tail that just gives you a little added spring right at the end of this board. Now, it's got enough pop to ollie a roller, ollie over a rope or a slow sign, you know, or if you just want to porpoise in fresh snow, you don't have to worry about it. It gets that job done. Is it the snappiest thing out there? No, but it's consistent, which is nice because that lets you do what you need to do. The pow butterability on this board is good in the nose. You've got that rocker section. It's like a spatula. You can get your weight out and you feel that flex point engage and it locks in, and then it gives you enough snap to spring out. With the tail, because it's shorter, you're pretty much doing like high-speed wheelies, just going across that snow and just really putting your weight sitting out on that rear insert pack. This board is just smooth on edge. You just feel locked in and know that it's gonna arc from one side of the trail back to the other. And if you really wanna drive a carve, you can load up that camber from the back foot, push it in, and just press right out of the tail and get it to slingshot you out of a turn. You can lay it over when you absolutely need to, but by and large, it's those short, tight, quick carves or medium mellow ones that it really stands out on. You know, the ones where you're just sort of swooping from one side of the run back to the other. It does have a little bit of power and snap just coming out of it when you need it. So it's nice to know that you have that, but you don't have to bring your A game to drive this at all times. Who's this board for? The resort ripping powder guy. Someone that's just gonna go from one pocket of pow to the other and still needs a board that they can carve with in between. Since the last time I rode this board, they changed the core in it. It's a little more damp and not as reactive. It's still responsive, but it just doesn't feel as reactive. And I don't mean that in a bad thing. It's nice to know that this is a little more damp. It just pushes through chop and chunder easier. It's got a smoother ride, if you will. You do get a little bit of chatter, but not so much that you're like, oh, my feet are so fatigued, I'm done for the day. It's more like, oh, hey, it's there, I can deal with it, and I can just keep on riding. This board is good in pow, it's good in tight trees. You can just send it across a groomer if you absolutely have to. It pops off rollers. Overall, it's just a really, really solid board. Comparable boards, the Telos Backslash, the Ride Super Pig, the Rome Stalefish. Binding recommendations, the K2 edition, the Rome DOD, the Union Force. This has been my review of the K2 Excavator. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you gonna buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.